All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. This is episode 129 on a Monday morning. I'm Christian Brindle. He's Glenn Shelton. And good morning, good sir. Happy Monday.
Good morning.
How was the weekend?
It was good. I'm gonna move Doctor out. I know we have a lot of viewers here. They're here for Mehmet, and I totally get that. He's a very good-looking man. I'm gonna move him into the frame a little bit for our video viewers here. It's always a good Monday when Mehmet's in the office. Mehmet,
we need to discuss. We probably should discuss with him the main topic of today's episode. This proposal.
I would be very curious what.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely gonna get into that, right? We're definitely gonna
for sure
have some conversations related to that.
Conversations. We're gonna have a few conversations. Okay, so one thing that came up, I was wanting to text you. I never texted you about it, so I'll bring it up now. And there's a side to this that's very interesting to me because obviously we're both very focused on content, generating content. Now, this piece of content couldn't be further from the type of content that we generate, but and I'm curious if you've seen this movie. I'm going to guess you haven't, but maybe. Has your daughter showed you a new movie on Netflix recently?
Define new. Like came out this year new?
In the last 30 days. It's literally like 30 days. Okay.
No.
This movie just came out. And my daughter, her friends on her soccer team were talking about it. So she's like, I want to watch this movie. So then we turned it on. It was on Netflix. It's called K-Pop Demon Hunters. You're going to watch it this week with your daughter. I'm telling you, it's literally the last thing you would think would be like on the radar, any type of movie. And the reason I'm bringing this up is it is smashing Netflix's top viewed movie records. Right now, the number one movie viewed on Netflix is Red Notice, which came out in 2020. I don't know if I think I saw that movie. I don't really remember it, to be honest. I know Ryan Reynolds is like the main character, and there's I think Gal Gadot's also in it. So there's like a star-studded movie. It's like an action movie, spy movie, and it got like 280 million views, like total 280 million views. This new animated K-Pop Demon Hunters movie, which again, I know it sounds ridiculous. It came out like 30 days ago. It has already crossed like 120 million views. It is on pace to obliterate any movie Netflix has ever put out. And the crazy part is the budget and advertising behind this movie, essentially zero. Like, didn't advertise it at all. And it makes it, I laugh as I was like, I watched this movie with my daughter, and then I'm reading about like the popularity behind it. And the album is like top 100 Billboard charts, that the music that goes with it. And I laugh because when we're doing our content marketing, it always seems like there's so many times where it's like the piece of content that I think isn't that great, or I don't spend a lot of time on it, or I don't put a lot of thought into it. But then it's like, that's the piece of content that like really takes off. And I think that's the like the fun part behind content marketing, behind generating content, is like, you never know. Like, you never know what's going to be the thing that just explodes and everyone's watching it, everyone's talking about it, and it's getting all the eyeballs.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I mean, first of all, I'm familiar with K-pop because I went to. I've gone to Asia. It's everywhere over there. By the way, it is the biggest thing. imaginable, for whatever like our biggest stars and celebrities are here in America.
Yes.
K-pop stars are that in Asia. So that's weird.
You didn't think K-pop was coming up on a Monday? Come on, dude.
Did
Let's get
I?
into this. Let's get into some K-pop.
But it's true in terms of content marketing. It's very true because I've been making YouTube videos, let's see, and podcasts. Let's just kind of lump them all together.
Yeah.
I've been making podcast. I started the Everything Medicare podcast, consumer facing, in 2018. We're in year 7 of that, which is really kind of weird for me to think about. I started the consumer YouTube channel around that same time, but didn't post a lot to it. Didn't really know what I was doing. Started the agent YouTube channel December of 2019, kind of January 2020 timeframe. So about 5 years of that. Posted between the two channels, if you're talking just YouTube, thousands of videos. Thousands. Like together they're over 2,000 videos. Podcast episodes between Taco Tuesday, between this pod show, between the Everything Medicare podcast, probably getting close to 1,000, but probably not quite there. Maybe 750 episodes. I'd have to add them all up. And that is very true. Like if I look at any content generation source I've ever done, if I look at the top viewed or most ranked viewed or listened to pieces of content, it's never ones that I'm like, that's the one.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
Be like ready to carry the channel to prosperity. I never crossed my mind. But the pieces of content that I'm thinking that I'm like, all right, here we go. This is the one. Put a lot of effort into this piece of content. Then it will it might not flop, but sometimes it'll flop. But maybe if it doesn't flop, it does kind of mid, and it's like the algorithm's like, eh. And it's such a weird thing. I think part of it is the algorithm. Part of it is timing. The other part of it is like, it's really hard to read your mind of the audience and know what they're going to gravitate towards. It's such a weird thing, like to me, I'm like, oh, this is super interesting to me, but it's very difficult to determine what's going to be interesting to the audience without being able to get inside their head.
I mean, again, to go back to this K-pop Demon Hunters Netflix explosion, timing, I think, is a big reason why it probably took off. Think about it. The demographic for this movie, and I really went down the rabbit hole mentally this weekend with this, just because, again, Netflix is the biggest movie streaming platform in the world, like hands down. Nobody's streaming more movies than Netflix. They have access to everything. They've done movies now with almost every major actor you can think of. And I guarantee you, before this movie got launched, there probably wasn't a single executive at Netflix that was like, this is going to be our biggest movie we've ever launched. Like, there's no way, right? There's no way. But the timing of it, you have all these kids are out of school. The demographic for this movie is probably like, 6 to 14, probably skews towards girls. The music, like it's just the right movie at the right time, and that's how I think the content a lot of times is. And that's even with the show we're doing right here, right now, with the 7 Figures or Bust podcast, we tried to bring the right information to you guys at the right time. Mm-hmm. Whether that's talking about, what's trending in the Medicare space in the industry, whether that's, what's going on with AEP coming up. And again, the reason I wanted to discuss this today is because you guys should be doing content marketing in your businesses. And there's so many of you that refuse to do it. And we've done an entire episode on content marketing before, so we don't have to rehash all of that. But it's never good. This is just going to keep getting bigger from here, in my opinion. The whole idea behind content marketing, how it can affect your business, how you can do something and have almost like this virality moment, right? Where you can do a piece of content for your business, for your agency, and it could, bring in untold amount of new clients, new revenue, and it could be something as simple as what Christian and I are doing right now. We're just having a conversation, cameras on, talking about something that's relevant.
Or not so much.
Or not,
Um,
or talking about K-pop,
or that. No, I think I I gave a talk at a conference last week, the California Insurance Agents event.
Yes.
Great.
Shout out to Andrew Lee.
Yeah, great job at that event. But one thing I talked about in my talk that I kind of worked in is like, you have things that you do in your business that are marketing your business. And then in my mind, and some people might lump them in together into one. I kind of don't, just for my own kind of like way of looking at it. It's just kind of like my definition of it. The other side of it is promotion, right? So you have things that are marketing your business, and then you have things you're doing that are promoting your business.
Yes.
And the difference to me is like running an ad is marketing your business, or doing a seminar or something like that. Doing content to me is promoting your business. Or like doing a conference like we do at the summit is promoting our business, right? We have this whole segment of things that we do that I would categorize as promotion, and maybe not. I mean, it's like distant cousin of marketing, right? Like it's like first cousin, twice removed,
Right.
of marketing. Probably a little bit more closer related than that even, but and I feel like there's more and more agents I feel are starting to embrace the importance of marketing in your business. And it's extremely important. But so few are willing to be a promoter in their business. And I feel like the value that your business can benefit from by being willing to promote your business, and being a promoter is like, it's really hard to really quantify. It's kind of priceless when you're willing to do that. Like for me, I think about in the agency, our level of growth, it's kind of like BC and AD before Christian promoted, after decision to promote. And the difference in terms of the growth numbers is exponential, right? Like before I was not, and I probably wasn't doing that much marketing at the beginning as well. It was really just ground and pound, hustle, work hard, versus marketing the business, but also being willing to step into that role of being a promoter and being front and center. And the growth numbers are explosive on the other side. Yeah. And there's not that many agents that are willing to do it. And the ones that are willing to do it, sometimes they're not very good at it, and they don't try to get better at it. Like if you're watching this and you're not very good at being a promoter, that's okay. It's only a problem if you choose to stay there and you don't really work at it and try to get better at it. Some people I just don't feel like ever try to get better at being a promoter.
I think it's a super synergistic relationship between marketing and promoting. I think so. One of the individuals I've worked with historically, he was in the real estate space, and I honestly don't think this person was a very good marketer. I don't think this person was very good at business. I think they had maybe some sales experience, but they had a lot of success, and I would attribute a lot of their success to their ability to promote. Because promoting it's really like it's getting the attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have incredible marketing pieces and you could have incredible content, but if you can't get the attention on the marketing, can't get attention on the content, it'll never go as far as if you can actually get the eyeballs there. But again, you could get the attention on something that sucks, and that so it's like it has there's this symbiotic relationship between promoting and marketing, where like you want it to all kind of flow together. You want content that's good enough that it will carry on its own, that it will get that attention, and it will continue to bring in attention. But if you can promote it, you will grow it exponentially. It's, to go back to kind of the movie analogy, there's some movies that are coming out where they're promoting them so far in advance, where you're seeing commercials and posters and trailers like 2 years before the movie is coming out, versus some other movies where there's very little promoting going on. But again, if you can promote something longer in advance, you're getting more attention. And then if you, whatever you're trying to market, so it is very synergistic. And I think most fail at being good at both. And I think promoting is probably the bigger failure by most, I would say, or the bigger missed opportunity.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think one thing that you hit right on the head there is like, you can promote till you're blue in the face, but if it's not a good product or it's not a good piece of content
or service,
like or service or whatever it might be, you're kind of screwed. Like, look at the Snow White movie. When the first thing that came to my mind when you said, there's organizations that are promoting movies years in advance, the first thing that came to my mind was that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of.
The literal antithesis to this K-pop movie, right? Horrible content, tons of promoting, right? Incredible promoting way in advance, right?
Yeah. And then I still haven't seen the movie, no matter, and they have not given up on the promoting. They're like, let's turn this ship around, baby. Streaming services. I won't watch it. I refuse. I haven't watched it yet, and I don't plan to. But every person I have talked to that has watched it has told me that it's an abomination of God. Like, it's the worst thing they've ever seen.
I've heard nothing but horrible things about that movie. Massive budget too. They turned and burned for that. They literally just incinerated piles of cash for that thing, which is just crazy. But when you're Disney, you get to do that.
No, it doesn't matter if your market cap goes down by 200 billion in 5 years. No biggie. No biggie. All right, let's shift gears into because there's a lot of
before there was one other thing that's more specific industry related that came up this weekend that I wanted to get into before we get to the main topic.
Yes.
I wanted to do a quick recap of communications-based marketing versus specifically marketing for Medicare Advantage plans. Just a quick overview, because this continues to come up where,
and it always will.
It always I know this will never go away. I feel like I have this conversation every single week, and I know we're coming into AEP season, so it's just going to continue to kind of ramp up. So I wanted to mention it again here on the podcast this morning, just because, again, I feel like it's over and over and over. It's like, wait a second, why you can't do this? That's not compliant. So, I don't know if you wanted to kind of give a quick 60-second overview. What's the difference, right? What's the difference between marketing directly for the plan needs to be CMS approved, carrier approved, versus communications-based marketing where it doesn't have to go through those same approval channels?
Certainly. And who knows? I mean, this might be a main topic of its own.
It could be.
To be honest, because it's kind of an in-depth conversation, or it can be, to really get into it in the real depths of it. I don't know how much we can really cover in a few minutes here, but I'll do my best. It is astounding to me, and maybe I just haven't noticed it in the past, But this year was the first year that I've noticed it. And granted, am I reading every slide at this point? No, I'm clicking through of AHIP. This was the first year that I noticed it in AHIP, though. Communication versus marketing, and the differences between them. So maybe that helps, because we all know agents love AHIP and they love compliance. And I mean, some of the most viewed videos we have on our YouTube channel are AHIP videos. Not how to build a great marketing plan, not how to, make a ton of money. AHIP videos.
How to be a 7-figure agent.
Agents are really, really funny to me. I'm like, you guys are hilarious. Like, that's the most interesting thing to you.
The next summit, we need someone to get up on stage and just talk about AHIP for an hour at the summit next year.
We would sell 10,000 tickets. We would have more than that. Every Medicare agent in the nation would come. We'd have to have like 15 different locations to fit everyone. Like,
are you worried about passing AHIP? You better come to the summit.
Speaking of promotion, we should come up with a sarcastic joke ad that's that, and run that for the summit. I really want that.
The only way to pass AHIP 2027.
I want this. I want that now.
Though. You know it's true.
I wonder how many the reactions we get. Who doesn't know this? They buy a ticket. Who doesn't know this?
What was Christian's score last year? I didn't see him post it.
Okay. Okay. To back to the original question here.
Yes.
So marketing versus communication, right? It is astonishing to me how many agents do not know the difference between the two.
Yes.
And I've talked a lot about agents over-regulating themselves. It is the craziest thing for me to see. It's no wonder agents have such a hard time writing business. Certainly there's all the rules that we have to follow, right? There's rules in place that are legitimate and everything like that. But all the additional rules that agents invent because they don't understand the rules is redonkulous to me. And it just makes it that much harder. Like, you have your CMS rules that are there, and then you have your own imaginary fairy tale rules with, glitter and pixie dust, and that you think you have to follow, and you're trying to follow both sets of rules, and you write 10 apps a year, and most of them are your friends and family because you're over-regulating yourself. This is a classic example. So marketing versus communication, right? So to put it simply, marketing, by definition, in terms of what CMS has put out in terms of their definition, is anything that mentions carriers specifically, plans specifically, or benefits specifically.
Premium amount.
Yeah. I'd lump that in, anything like related to the plan. Yeah. And regarding Medicare Advantage or PDPs, MedSup doesn't apply, you silly gooses. So I could put out an ad for a MedSup and I could mention a premium. And guess what? It's not marketing.
And if it ends up turning into a Medicare Advantage sale, all you have to do is scope and wait the 48 hours, and you could still sell a Medicare Advantage policy to a lead that opted in for Medicare Supplement. That happens, and that's still compliant as well. This really is, as we're talking about, this really is a full episode conversation. I have so many thoughts. I'd love to continue to get deeper into this, because I think a lot of it's coming from the top down, to be honest.
A lot of these FMOs are more strict on their compliance than most carriers are at this point.
Yes.
And some of them don't even understand the compliance rules very much.
They do not.
So that's marketing. And for marketing, an example to that would be like your Joe Namath ads, right? That we all are familiar with. I use that example because it's one that we all probably can picture. Call today and get $180 back in your Social Security check. Call today and get $5,000 in dental, blah, 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 blah. That's marketing. It's very, very intentional, plan specific, benefit specific. And that needs to obtain CMS approval and get an SMID code from CMS saying that it's CMS approved to be able to be ran. That's why a lot of those commercials have disappeared, because they cannot obtain an SMID code for that type of advertisement. Communication, on the other hand, is when you're advertising for Medicare generically. You're not mentioning any benefits. You're not mentioning any carriers. You're not mentioning any specific plans. And your messaging is more or less, hey, I'm Christian. I'm your local Medicare specialist, and I can help you with your Medicare options and navigating the weeds. Call me today. Fill out the button below. Click the button below and fill out the form, and I will call you. That is communication. And by definition, it does not fall under the same rules or regulations as marketing. I don't need an SMID code. I don't need to put my disclaimers on the ad or any of this stuff. And it's just a totally different set of rules, right? So the vast majority of all the marketing that we do as communication. And we've always done it as communication. And every time I teach on how we market, I always have at least a couple people that are in a training of mine to where they're like, where's your SMID code? How did you submit this for approval? I'm like, I didn't, and I won't. And you know what I mean? Because I understand the rules and you don't.
Yeah.
And so that's in a very simplistic explanation, that is the difference between marketing and communication. Now, CMS can change that definition, right? Like they put out a proposal at the end of the year last year in Q4, November, December timeframe, that basically in the proposal that they would take those two things and combine them into one. There would be no more communication. All communication would then be marketing, and that would have been disastrous. Thankfully, in the final rule, they chose not to move forward with that. But that would have been disastrous, because in that world, you make a YouTube video about Medicare. That's communication right now. You make a post on social media. Hey, call me about your Medicare. I'm Susan. I'm your local Medicare help person, whatever, right? That's communication. If they had gone forward with that change, all of that would then require CMS approval. And CMS approval oftentimes takes months to get.
They are so understaffed. A lot of times it's 60 days plus to get something approved.
And that's if if they will sign off on it. They might come back and say, hey, you need to make this change and submit it again and wait another couple of months.
And then if you're trying to get carrier approval, that can have its own timeline. And then you might get it through CMS, but a carrier might say no. So it can be a
post
huge
on social media. A post on social media or a YouTube video, like if you're putting those out every day or every week or something like that, imagine the shit show that becomes. So thankfully they didn't move forward with that proposal, but so they can change this definition at any point. But at the time of recording this, and this isn't new information. This has been this way for many years. That is the definition, simplistically, of marketing versus communication.
Yeah, I don't want to get any deeper. There's a lot deeper I think we can go. There's a lot I really want to talk about from the FMO side with this. But I just thought a quick refresher because I think this is just going to come up every week. I guarantee you I'm going to have that conversation with someone.
We could make every episode we ever do for the rest of time be about that. We just loop it. We talk about it every day. We just repeat, and it won't matter. People won't understand. And it's insane to me, but
we should do it. You know what we should do is a game show where we bring Medicare agents on and we're like, all right, is this communications or is this marketing?
All right, little Billy. Behind door number 1, you have a prize. If you can answer this question, is this communication or is this marketing?
Christian wrote a Medicare K-pop song.
Yeah, I'm marketing. Wrong. Does Christian need an SMID approval code from CMS for this? Oh, yeah.
The sad part, this is the last thing I'll say about it though, is the sad part is the over regulating that a lot of you are doing to yourselves, or you're just taking misinformation from other people and applying it to yourself. The sad part is you're limiting how much business you're right. That's the saddest part, in my opinion, about this whole situation. As much as we kind of jest and make fun of the whole thing, I hate to see that. I hate to see you guys paralyzed with fear that you are going to prison tomorrow if you don't do this perfectly. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating, but more on that for another time. Let's get into today's sponsor for episode 129 of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. We have a massive webinar coming up just around the corner for Hire Heroes. You may have already seen some of the advertising that we have put out for this webinar. I want to make sure I'm saying the title correctly here. This episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by the Seven Figure University. SevenFigureUniversity.com is a culmination of Christian Brindle's and mine's educational videos that we have developed over the past 2 decades of combined experience in the senior insurance space. There's more than 250 videos, hundreds of hours of content that can help you become a top producer or a top producing agency in the senior insurance space. We're talking about videos of how to work with specific carriers, how to do different types of marketing, such as seminars or Facebook advertising, how to generate content in the niche to help grow your business, how to grow an agency, all sorts of things. There's so much value in this. It's unbelievable. Christian, what do agents need to know about Seven Figure University?
Seven Figure University can best be thought of as an agency blueprint in a box that's put together for you that brings you step by step in every facet of building a successful seven-figure insurance agency and lays it out all in front of you so you can follow along. Whether you guys need help with marketing, whether you guys need help with branding, whether you guys need help with hiring, training, standard operating procedures, systems and processes, automation, you name it, it's covered in this course. Not only that, you get access to my weekly training calls every Thursday that go from January through the end of September on a week-to-week basis. And you can attend those live and ask questions live. And then, of course, the recordings are put into the university afterward if you can't attend it and make the live training. So there's just so much value. It's the gift that keeps on giving, and it's a great investment into your business to kind of keep you up to date on what's going on, but also kind of point you in the right direction in various things that you're struggling with.
Some of the best training you'll be able to find, you guys, in one spot for one price. Go to sevenfigureuniversity.com and learn more.
Let's get back to the show.
So it is how to triple your business in AEP 2026 using virtual assistants. So this is coming up August 6th. That's Wednesday, August 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you are looking for help this AEP, if you want to figure out how you can do 3 times the amount of business that you normally do, tune into this webinar. You do not want to miss this. Christian and I have been working with virtual assistants now for years, and we have some of the best strategies, tips, tricks, and we're even going to offer a special exclusive bonus for live attendees only. So do not miss this webinar. I'll make sure the link is in the chat on this live stream. You can search the Facebook group. You can go to hireheroes.com and also sign up for the webinar there. Again, how to triple your business in AEP 2026 with virtual assistants. check out hireheroes.com today. HIREHEROES.com.
Boom. Okay, I want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk about this main topic because it is a kind of a big one.
It's a doozy.
So it first started kind of getting posted in some of the Facebook groups, and definitely caused some panic from some, like all things seem to do. And I thought it would be just, and it is a radical, ridiculous proposal. It really is. It's kind of hysterical how ridiculous of a proposal that it is. So I wanted to kind of go through this article and actually react to it and the details. First off, to really kind of communicate what the actual proposal is, what's the details of it, what's the likelihood of this actually happening, and everything else in between. So can you see my screen, good sir?
I can.
All right. So this is an article on Morningstar titled, "You will be auto-enrolled in Medicare Advantage and locked in for 3 years under this new bill in Congress." Okay, this came out July 21st. We are a little bit late to the show in terms of actually reporting and reacting to this. We've been a little infrequent with our episodes lately, and I apologize for that. So understand, if you're a recurring listener, we would have talked about this a while ago. But again, it's probably a week and a half old or so, something like that. It's not crazy. We're not crazy behind like it might seem. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit of it. Medicare Advantage could become default insurance program for all older adults. Medicare Advantage could become the default health insurance program for all older adults. A recent proposal in Congress would automatically enroll older adults in a Medicare Advantage plan and then lock them into that plan for 3 years unless they actively opt for traditional Medicare coverage. The proposal, sponsored by U.S. Rep. David Schweikert. Am I saying that right?
Close enough.
Schweikert.
Close enough for me.
AKA Dumbass. David Dumbass. Because this, like, what kind of retard do you have to be? I'm sorry, I know that's not a nice word, but to come up with this idea, like, who thought this was a good idea? An Arizona Republican would automatically put people 65 and older into the lowest cost Medicare Advantage plan. The lowest cost, by the way, the vast majority in most areas are zero. What do you mean lowest cost? Anyway, in their area starting in 2028. These enrollees would be unable to change to any other plan for 3 years. Can you imagine the uprising? Like, whatever party, I think I saw somebody post a comment, and I totally agree. The party that passes this into law, if it were, would not win another election with seniors for decades.
Yeah, this has bad news bears written all over it.
Like, talk about, like, there's no one that would, a Medicare beneficiary that would be supportive of this. Who does this help? All right, well, we'll get into that. I want to hear your thoughts, but let's continue on. The proposal started. Okay. The proposal, HR 3467, does not in the bill, and critics said,
you froze there for a second on me, sir.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. The proposal, HR 3467, does allow people to opt out and choose traditional Medicare, but the process for doing that is not detailed in the bill. And critics said many people may lack the insurance savviness they might need to choose that option. You think? The bill also doesn't require the private insurers who provide Medicare Advantage plans to keep the same network or cost structure over these 3 years, said Ari Parker, co-founder of Chapter, a private company that helps people navigate Medicare plans, and the author of It's Not That Complicated. So probably an agent, who that is, which, not wrong, right? Like, The obvious flaw in this, people get auto-enrolled into a plan. It's at random. It might not be the best plan for them for a multitude of reasons, right? It might not cover their doctors, might not cover their prescriptions, might not have the benefits they care about. Then they're locked in for 3 years. Maybe it is even a good plan. It falls off a cliff in a year and they're stuck for 2 years. Like,
Well, that's yeah. What happens if the plan starts to change and then they're still stuck in it? Like it doesn't
nothing. They're stuck.
doesn't make any sense, you know. And when especially when the turmoil we've seen over the past 2 years, this would create an uprising. Seniors would be in the streets if something like this were to come to fruition.
This dude would be publicly executed in Arizona. And no one would turn a blind eye. It'd be like BLM riots all over again. No one would do anything about it. No one would care. That means I'll continue reading. That means an older adult could be locked into a network that becomes more expensive over time or becomes less relevant to them. For instance, if the network changes and they lose their doctor, Parker said. That's just talking about the network. That's not talking about the drug coverage. That's not talking about the benefits, the max out of pocket, the dental vision hearing, so whatever might be important to that beneficiary.
Right.
A total of 68.6 million people age 65 and older are enrolled in Medicare plans, with 51.2% of these people enrolled in Medicare Advantage plans, according to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The balance of enrollees are in traditional Medicare. I don't see how that maths, but okay. Normally, people 65 and older make choices about their Medicare coverage each year during open enrollment season, which runs from mid-October until December. During that time, beneficiaries can switch between traditional Medicare to Medicare Advantage plan, enroll in or change Part D prescription drug plans, and add supplemental insurance known as Medigap. Well, that's a lie. I mean, I guess they can go to original Medicare, but they can get on a Medigap anytime. Those changes go into effect January 1st of the following year. During Medicare Advantage's open enrollment period, which runs from January 1st to March 31st each year, beneficiaries can switch to another Medicare Advantage plan or drop their Medicare Advantage plan and return to original Medicare. Those changes go into effect the first of the following month of the request. So the main thing I'm looking for here is like, what is the proposal?
What are they actually trying to solve for, right? That's so we've talked about this before, where like the Inflation Reduction Act, right? Like the government, and this is like textbook, right? Is like they'll pick one thing that they think they're trying to solve for, and then it's like all the other unintended consequences, they won't even like address or look at it. It's like they're trying to, this complex situation. They're trying to pull out this one issue. We're going to try to create a resolution that solves this one issue. We're going to ignore the entire situation outside of that. So what is the one thing they're trying to solve for? Is it the amount of churn that's happening every year? Are they just trying to solve for that? Like if we lock people in, they can't switch these plans. Like what is the one thing that they think they're actually solving with this, you think?
I'm scanning through right now because I'm curious of that as well. There's all types of things mentioned that are problematic. Obviously, right? Like this is not rocket science to determine why this is problematic. I'm looking for CMS did not respond immediately to a request for comment. A representative for Schweikert also did not respond to a request for comment. The bill was referred to the House Ways and Means Committee, as well as the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. Schweikert's fifth largest campaign donor was CVS Health, which offers Medicare Advantage plans through its Aetna business. The company gave Schweikert a contribution of $16,600 in the 2024 election, according to Open Secrets. He raised a total of nearly $4.2 million in that election cycle. Regarding the future,
do you think the carriers want this?
I can't. I don't know. It would seem.
I mean,
It
on
could
one
be
hand,
beneficial for the carriers.
right. I mean, this is almost in the same realm of the idea of like, hey, we don't want to pay brokers or agents commissions anymore. Obviously, they'd love to not have to do that, but this idea of just locking people in just because it's convenient for the carrier, I just don't see how that's something that could possibly fly.
Let's see. Seniors should feel empowered to choose the health coverage that best fits their needs, lifestyle, and budget. Today, more than half choose Medicare Advantage for better care and lower costs. And seniors should continue to have that choice. Mary Beth Bonathu, President and Chief Executive of Better Medicare Alliance, a trade group for Medicare Advantage, said in an emailed statement. With more than 34 million Americans enrolled in Medicare Advantage, there are better ways to support and strengthen this critical program. We look forward to continuing our work with policymakers to achieve these common sense solutions, he said. So here's the thing that jumps out to me from this article, right, as we kind of reach the end here. There's really nothing that is mentioned about an explanation from this David guy or his office about what they're trying to do. And that jumps out to me that the reason is not something they want the public to know about. There isn't any reason to where they think this is in the benefit of the Medicare beneficiary. There's something else at work here that's kind of pulling the strings. First off, I would say there is less than a 1% chance this ever passed. I just don't see it ever going anywhere. It would be condemned by everyone involved, right, left, middle, advocacy groups, seniors, agents. Nobody would be supportive of this, and it would be so damning and so damaging to the clients. It would be such a horrible thing for everyone involved. So to me, I look at this and I think about it as a proposal. We had a client in our office. I didn't share this with you. So this is the first time. Call our office, freaked out about this after reading about this.
Really?
Just like in panic. Like wanting to know what we think about it, what's really going on.
That's interesting.
I talked to one of our team members and I told them, I'm like, it's a proposal. There's proposals that get pushed all the time.
All the time.
Very few of them. And there's so many that never see the light of day that you never even hear about. Right? This to me screams that it's making headlines because of the sensationalism of it all. But the chances of it actually happening are really, really low, at least in my opinion. I just don't see it. It's so radical. I don't think you'd see anything like that ever happen, at least anytime soon.
I think that this is again one of the. I've heard from others that 1% it would be passed as well. Yeah, it's so bad for the marketplace, like the idea that you have this free market system where people get to choose what plan and the carriers try to put out their best plans, and trying to lock people in for 3 years is insane in my opinion, especially if everything else behind the plan isn't locked. The only way I feel like there could be any sort of legitimacy to something like this is like you'd have to get all the doctors locked into the plans during that same time period, which in my opinion would be impossible.
Good luck.
Right? Yeah, good luck. You'd have to get all the benefits locked in, right? Because how is that fair in any way if you start to change benefits? As we've seen I was just talking to my parents about their plans, and they were complaining how some of the benefits have been going away, and I'm just like, that's just part of what's going on. I'm like,
It's
you
happening across the board,
yeah, I'm like,
unfortunately.
Inflation Reduction Act for a lot of what's going on with some of this turbulence and benefits changing, benefits going away. So I just foresee, if something like this were to come to pass, the idea that seniors get locked in, a plan falls off a cliff, their doctors that they really want to work with are no longer part of that plan. I mean, you're looking at an apocalyptic type situation where the whole system just essentially falls apart if something like this were to come to be. The only reason I could think that something like this would be proposed, I mean, I guess, again, from a carrier level, if you could lock someone in and you knew that you were getting their premiums for 3 years, no matter what you're doing on your end as the carrier, would be a pretty sweet deal, I guess.
Or the funding, right? Like usually they don't have premiums, but they're getting the funding on it.
Right. That's
But
yeah, that's what I meant.
but like, yeah, I mean, from a carrier perspective, imagine you have somebody's business for 3 years, no matter what you do. They have no
Right.
choice. They have to die to get out of the plan. Those are your options.
Right.
Die or be on this plan.
Right.
And so from a carrier perspective, they can be like, yeah, like watch this. Max out of pocket doubles.
Watch this.
Like
hold my beer. Watch this.
Like imagine, because it's a thing now that isn't talked about a lot, where there are carriers where their business model, I'm not mentioning any names, but they will come into a market, or they'll be in a market and they'll strengthen plans in the market with the intention of, okay, we're going to be competitive for 2 years, let's say, maybe 3. We're going to acquire as much market share as we can. Maybe we even operate on very thin margins over this period of time to acquire that business. Let's say we acquire 10,000 members over the course of that time. And then in the 4th year, we're going to draw benefits back. We know we're going to lose some members that are just going to flip to other plans. But let's say we lose 30% of our members. We're still going to keep 7,000 people, and our margins are going to become much greater. And we're going to keep those 7,000 people that are not paying attention to what's going on in our plan changes. That is the thing that happens. That would be on steroids with something like this. Now, the thing about it now is seniors have the ability to get out of the plan, right? They can get out in AEP. If they drop the ball in AEP and they're not paying attention, they start feeling the pain in January, they can get out in January to March with OEP. So right now, the power is placed in the hands of the Medicare beneficiary, where they have the options to keep carriers honest. But that is a thing that 100% happens in our current system as is. Carriers have that kind of thought process. That has a lot to do with the decisions that happen at a high level. Imagine what those decisions would look like in this type of situation. Just unbelievable.
It's anti-capitalism in my mind. Like it goes against the core concept of freedom of choice, free market. The only thing I can think is that this dude thought he could get some donor money from carriers or some, and so he thought, I'll throw some radical proposal out there so carriers know I'm in their pocket. I don't know. I honestly, it's so ridiculous to me that this even got floated. I don't really understand what the concept behind the scenes was or the reasoning why, but it could be something like that, in my opinion. It could be something like, there was no real, possibility of something like this ever coming to fruition. So it was just, hey, I want the carriers to know I'm on their side, so I'm going to throw something crazy out there. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I think the possibility of something like this actually coming to be is less than 1% for sure.
the thing that comes to mind for me like that is like, that is so clearly to me, no matter what the reasoning on it behind the scenes is, there is no way, shape, or form that this is being done for the benefit of the senior. That it would be proposed for the benefit of the senior. No way. Which tells me that this guy and his administration, whatever you want to call it, his office,
Administration.
administration, is looking out. It cares for the benefit of the senior,
Right.
whatsoever. And so it's wild to me that people like that get elected, and probably will continue to get elected for things. Like, you look at some of these people's track record of politicians that are in politics for decades, they have a laundry list of things that are proposed that, you know, it's just shy of like killing people in the street. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But it's like Tom Smith in it for you. On the advertisements, it's like Tom Smith fucking you over, for 30 years. Like,
Yeah.
it's just wild to me, like how, because I mean, politics is supposed to be, I don't mean to get on my soapbox, but politics is supposed to be, you're a public servant for the benefit of the people.
For the people. For the people.
It's just corrupt, in my opinion. There's no way around it other than that.
Yep.
Yeah, just kind of, but so I don't place a lot of merit into it. I don't think it has a chance of going anywhere, but it did do a good job of stirring up a little bit of panic in the Medicare community. And I thought it was worth addressing on the show today.
For sure. I think any time, even something that seems extremely unlikely to come to fruition, I think it's important to discuss, because there are always those chicken little agents. There are always some people who just grab onto headlines and run with it. So I think it's important to cover what's actually going on. Getting towards the top of the hour, I want to jump into my final thoughts, and then I'll turn it over to you. Again, proposals happen all the time. We've talked about a lot of wild proposals. Christian talked about earlier in today's episode the proposal about making all communications essentially have to follow the same guidelines as marketing. That was a crazy proposal, and luckily it didn't go anywhere. That's the type of stuff that happens all the time. So anytime you see something, if it's just considered a proposal and it hasn't been voted on, or it hasn't even been put to a vote, or it's not part of any type of actual legislation yet, it's probably not worth putting too much time or mental space into it. So there will be many, many more items like this that we'll probably see over the next 12, 24, 36 months. So, stay tuned. We'll try to get into those, obviously, as they come up. I also want to mention Freebie Friday will be back this Friday. We've had a couple weeks now where we've either been gone, we haven't been doing episodes, or we haven't done a Freebie Friday. Freebie Friday is back this coming Friday, which is somehow August 1st. I don't know where time has gone this year. The fact that August 1st is this Friday is just insane to me. But this Friday, we will be doing another giveaway. All you have to do is comment on today's stream or any other streams we do this week, and then we will raffle off something incredible. We've already given away close to $100,000 worth of leads, services, virtual assistants, trainings, summit tickets, all sorts of different things we've given away over the course of this year, and we're not stopping now. So all you have to do, comment on the stream, comment on any other streams. Every time you comment on a stream, it's an entry into the giveaway, up to one entry per stream. So don't miss out on Freebie Friday. Mr. Brindle, final thoughts on today's episode?
Yes. I think we covered a lot of ground on today's show, right? Whether it be communication versus marketing, and that very well probably should be its own show. Perhaps maybe sometime this week.
Maybe this week.
Time, we'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Because I do think that's something that we can talk about in depth, because there's a lot there to that. But yeah, I think my message and my final thoughts today would just be, don't overregulate yourselves. Do not, right? Like, you don't get like a trophy. You don't earn more commission when you do make a sale by following more rules that don't exist. You just make less money and help less people. That's all you're really accomplishing.
That's right.
Some of you are cool with that. Some of you want to make less money, want to help less people, but want to follow rules that don't exist. That's okay. If that's you do you, boo. But not me. Not me.
You do you, boo. Wow, I love it.
In terms of the proposal, I don't expect anything to happen with this. I think it's kind of a nothing burger. But it's interesting to keep an eye on it and, kind of see what happens, and we'll see. I mean, I don't expect anything of it though.
Back to back nothing burgers from last week. You guys saw last week's episode.
Following up one with another. Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. This is episode 129. If you enjoyed today's show, no matter how you might be consuming the content, whether it be audio only, whether it be on video, on a multitude of different platforms, do us a favor, whatever the platform allows you to do, like, comment, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. We certainly appreciate the support. And we'll be back with you guys next time with another episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast. Here's to your massive success. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.